Hello?
Hey, how's it going, Wendy?
Good, how are you?
Doing good.
Perfect.
All right. So, Wendy, I did receive your email
Uh-huh.
regarding the study. Um,
Yeah.
so you proposed some really good questions.
And I don't know if I'm right, you know what I mean? No, I just don't know.
Yep, I agree with you. I'm the same way. Like it's like you think it makes sense, but at the same time, you're not completely sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, the weird thing is that I actually haven't received anything from our professor yet. I mean, he told us to submit the assignment, but he hasn't got back to me at all.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I guess on our part, we can still try to figure it out.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, we'll try to determine what we should do because you're thinking of doing yeah,
Yep. Yep.
but I think that I know that we said that we're gonna do. You're talking about chronological. So it
Yeah.
could be possibly that. I mean, it does make sense because like you're saying, um, it should be the number of students that select pizza at each school. Yeah, that's right. Or the alternative, yeah.
Because I think if it's the other way, then we need to I need to have asked the student what they ate, what they didn't eat, but then we have a test subject of the student.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right. Because then if you say like how many people like it through yes and who don't like it through no,
Mm-hmm.
then you'd basically be able to make it a chronological study. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking because I know that I mean I kind of briefly studied over the chronological square test.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm not completely sure how that would apply with all the different tests that we would do. Do you know how that would?
Well, I didn't know if then it would go back to pizza or fish and then a total. So column one would be pizza, column two would be fish, and then you would just say who ate what that day,
Yeah, that makes sense. Actually, I can kind of understand that. Let me
and then
actually look.
that's why it would be the chi or square test.
Yeah, and then you'd be able to see if it's basically not independent or if it
Uh huh.
is. So if it's significantly not independent or if it's independent, or the significance of it is, yeah,
Dependent.
then independent, yeah. Yeah. So you'd be able to see that. Um, I mean, that's a good question. I guess we could do a test like that. I'm just trying to think because if we figure out the p-value, right, the p-value will be able to determine if there isn't a significant difference.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if it is like if they are independent or if they're not independent, because if we basically see the p-value and the p-value is eventually if it's less, right, then we know that through the. I'm just trying to understand it because like I know that it's to do with probability, right?
Right.
Yeah. So how would you imply that into the study? No.
I'm gonna pull up that.
Oh yeah, I should probably try to invite everybody again.
Oh,
Forgot about that.
you're fine.
All right, I'll do that right now. Okay, let's see. So, done. And then I'll let Kim know that we just joined up. Oh, Gmail. There we go. Awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna look at the textbook too.
Okay.
Because that's pretty much when you brought that up, I'm just like, wow, you bring out a really good question.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think we created the study, but then we learned this next factor. So then I was like, hey, wait a second, this sounds more like our study. That's the only reason why I went.
No, it makes sense because, it is chronological because if we're looking at how many people liked it or disliked it, right? It's the
Uh-huh.
same with like one of the other tests that we did for a two sample proportion, right?
Yeah.
That was like how many people tasted something and they liked it and how many people did not like it whatsoever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were looking at basically the probabilities of, I have to actually look back in the textbook, but I remember it looking very similar to that. So let's go back. Proportionate. Yeah, it's hard because I know you're trying to collect the data, but you're just like, how am I going to collect it?
Yeah. And honestly, like I could just from our database, I'm gonna get one number for each site. Like how many ate pizza and how many ate whatever I think it's fish sandwiches. Or how
Okay,
many or like total served. So then I can do like a percentage of how many had pizza.
that makes sense. That's one proportion. Okay. Less than 18. Okay. Ability to taste. Okay, it's a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I look at the study. If you look at that, so there's one study that they did. It was who can basically taste PTC.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was done out of the same sample. Oh, I just received. Yeah. Oh, okay. Let me go back here. Oh, you didn't. No, I guess they didn't reply back yet. Just me and you still.
Okay.
All right. I was wondering what that sound was. I thought it was me, them sending a message, but.
No, I think my computer made a weird noise. I just turned off my other speakers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so as I was saying, that if you look at can taste PTC, and then it was the differences between males and female of who can taste it and who can't. And they figured out that there was 14 people that could. Let's see. Furthermore, the exposure usually allows to investigate difference in proportion of men results. Okay, I'm just gonna double check this. Okay, I see. Okay, so that was 51, yes, and the other one was 50. The total. Oh, okay, all right, makes sense. Because I guess if you look at the TPC right here, I mean, when they were doing the study for who could taste TPC,
Mm-hmm.
they're just plainly looking at the percentage out of. So, for instance, there's a population of people that was out of 66 people,
Okay.
and there's 51 that said yes, right? Female that said yes that they could taste it, right? And that's all the calculated. That's all the so the total the 66 total females. And then it was also the males right there too, and there's only 52, right? So they're trying to look at the percentage and see if there was a difference out of males and that's males that said yes. I mean no. So what they did is I think that they did 51. So they wanted to figure out that there's a difference in the percentage, and they figured. I'm actually going to calculate that up again. 51 divided. I think it might be a different study though, because there were 77 that 77 of the females that 77% of them could basically taste it, and then out of the males there were 73. So the females, there was a difference. There was a difference because the females, they tasted it far more than the males out of a population of 52 to 66.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to think how we can apply that to our study. I mean, and we're not thinking about taste obviously. We're thinking about pizza.
Right, and we're gonna have more than 2, because that's where the
Yeah.
2. So it will be then a chi, because it'll be more than 2.
Yeah, the
So it
only
can
thing is,
just be, we can just do pizza, and you can do the percentage of, or the proportion.
I mean, we could do it, like, the one thing is that we're doing pizza, like, we could do male and female. If I don't know if you could calculate that up. I don't think you could.
I can't.
No, no,
No, that
dang.
one won't be it. So it would be pizza or fish, like, because that's the 2 options that day. Or it could just be the percent or the proportion that ate pizza.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm just trying to. So yeah, you're saying that the chronological, so it'll be 2 categories. So it would be people who like pizza and people who did not like pizza.
Yes.
The only thing is that
or people who chose pizza or people who chose fish.
okay, people who chose pizza, people who chose fish.
Yeah.
Okay. The only thing with that, actually, I think if we did that, I think that might be one proportion, wouldn't it?
Well,
Because
but we're gonna have 5 different schools.
yeah, that's right. So like you would have, wow. Yeah, that's right. There. This is intense to think about.
Uh-huh.
So we're gonna have at least 5 or 6 different schools.
Yeah, you could do the one maybe the one proportion if we just do the sum of the 5 schools. And then say who ate it or not, or who chose it or not.
Yeah, that's right. You're right, because then we can basically put that in the. If I go back to the other one.
Well, that would be almost a 2. Well, okay, so if you did one proportion, you could say, out of the total of 5 schools, they chose pizza and total the number there. Or you could do the 2 proportion and do the total of the 5 schools and do who selected pizza, who selected fish.
Yep, that's exactly it. So you would probably for this, like in that, just like in that table right there, you would put at the top where there's female, so there'd be pizza, and then there would be fish, and then on the left hand side would be all the schools. Is that correct?
Yes, or just a total, like where the no is, you would just say total of the 5, and I could do the school numbers or just the 5 schools that we tested.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that'd be the total amount of people that are in the different schools. And then we can see the difference between those that picked pizzas and those that basically picked the other one.
Yeah.
And then you can see the proportion of all of them.
Yep.
Actually, yeah, you're right. You're right. Maybe wow. So if we're gonna do that, maybe there would only be one option. So there'd be students that would be the top one, and then it would be at the side. It would be those that chose fish and those who did not choose, who chose pizza. So like how we have no and yes, and then basically we would have the total right there. That would be the 66, and then we have the total for the other one too, and then we'd be able to calculate the proportion, and figure out that way. I think, does that make sense? Okay. Right. Way cool. So we'll do that then. Then that'll make it. That'll make it easier.
You have to write it up.
Yep, that's exactly it. So yes and no. So yeah, you know what? I'm gonna briefly go to Excel. I might make my own little reminder.
Okay.
Let's go there. I still haven't heard anything from anybody yet. Just me and you. There you go.
Just me and you.
Okay. Fish. Page outline, insert, home, combine. There you go, merging the cells. There we go.
It's gonna be a fish sandwich, if that makes any.
Oh, fish sandwich? Yep, not
Yes.
a problem. Awesome. Students. Okay. Okay, and then we said for the column, when it says female and male, so what did I say there? What did we say we're going to put?
Female and male, isn't that we're going to put pizza and fish sandwich?
Yeah,
and
that's
then where
what.
the no is where the
Dang it.
school.
Yeah, I was talking about it. Made sense then. I just
Yeah.
have to think about
Where
it
the
again.
no and the yes are, it's the schools, the total from the schools. Or like total.
Oh, wait. I think it's
Fish
supposed to be
pizza.
reversed. Is it supposed to be reversed though? Because we have female and male that are different categories, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I think the different categories at the top would be so we have, you know how it says gender data table?
Yeah.
So I think it would be multiple. So it would be multiples, like we have female, male, but what we're going to do is we're going to do the different sets of students. I mean, the different schools at the top. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. So are
So,
we doing the 5 different schools now?
so
Individually?
yeah. Oh, dang. Yeah. So, yeah. Man, this is making it a little bit harder.
Yes. So I
Because
didn't know,
this,
like, so females put pizza, male fish sandwiches, and then where the no is, it would be like the total of tested students. Like but that, I don't know where you put yes.
so yeah. So what we were trying to look, because you know how like they were basically testing the PTC taste, how they're saying no for female and yes for so both for both of them, both the populations of female and male.
Uh-huh.
So what I was thinking is that I know that we're going to have multiple schools because I know that we
Okay.
have different schools
Mm-hmm.
that you know that there's a chronological thing for female, there's a chronological thing for male, but for us it's going to be basically the schools. So
Each
it would be
school.
each school, yeah. So it would be each school. I'm just trying to think if that's the best way of doing it though,
Probably,
because
but now we're a chi test.
exactly it would be a chi test, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's not just 2, right? Yeah.
No, it'll be 5.
Yep, that's right. Yeah. And let's try to see how the chi test actually works, though.
It works just like you're explaining, with just adding more
Yeah.
categories.
Yeah, and I guess it's just almost like, I guess it's a different than the ANOVA test, but
Uh-huh.
it's similar in the aspect that you're looking at basically to see if one of those are not dependent, right? So meaning that it is dependent upon one of them, right? Is that sort of how it's? And I just learned it, so I have to. I don't really understand it completely, to be completely honest.
You are. I am very worried about this next test because I'm like, oh, I have no idea.
Yeah. I know how to enter in the information, but other than that, it's trying to understand it. It's the other thing.
And then which one to pick. I watch our professor's videos that he does with other students, and I'm like, I haven't a clue what you would just choose right there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the hardest part, that's for sure. And creating your own study, it'll give you a better understanding of it. But
yeah,
I know, because I know that we initially said we wanted to do quantitative. Sorry, yeah, we're gonna do quantitative, but
I know, but I think that would be more like I'd have to take a survey of the kids of which one do you want, or which one did you choose, and we weren't gonna do
yeah,
test subjects.
yeah, that's exactly it. We weren't gonna do test subjects whatsoever.
Yeah, so I think the Chi test is like the ANOVA test, but just with like categories.
It's true. You know what? I think we might settle it for that for now, and then.
Okay.
I think that we may. What I'll do, because I know that you don't actually. I don't think you have to hand in the data to this week, right? It's next week, right?
Yeah, it's next week.
Okay. It's gonna make sure because which is fine because we have to revise our. What's good thing is that we've revised our design, the study. We revised it like twice, but it's a good thing because we
Yay.
haven't gotten any feedback yet. So.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think we'll go with that until we really understand what exactly we're doing.
Okay.
Because yeah, just trying to really understand what exactly we'd be implying if we're using that test. I'm trying to look. All right. If I'm looking here, research of the question whether the proof motivates independent of their location. I'm going to do some researching online right now.
Okay.
See what exactly when you would use that. Sometimes in the test, how likely it is to observe to disturb due to a chance. It also is called the goodness of fit statistic because it's measured how well the observed distribution of data fits with the distribution that is accepted if the variables are independent. Okay, what you use it for? Let's explain how to conduct analysis for independence. The test is applied when you have two chronological variables from a single population.
Is your camera?
No, what's up? Yep, that was just my wife.
That's all good.
Yeah, I'm researching it, but
Is it so? Like, are you looking at for the design and study part? Is that what you're trying?
I'm just trying to figure out what you would use a square a CHI or G square test
Chi?
for
Yeah.
testing. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out when you would use it.
I, the the video this week from those on the tutorial thing, they kind of, or I guess from the preparation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's the wrong one. I gotta find my right homework. You're trying. He explained it more like you're trying to decide if each category is independent from itself, or if they are not independent from each other. Like there's a correlation between them.
Yeah, that's right.
And so I don't know, like if the question should be like for our instance, like is the demand for I guess pizza the same throughout, or like I don't know. Never mind.
No worries. I'm trying to wrap my head around it too, because I know that
Mm-hmm.
if we did go with yeah, you're right. I mean, if we did with I'm trying to not trying to say something and not making sense.
Right.
Because I know if we went, because I know if we were originally thinking of doing basically a Nova test,
Right.
um, and it was going to be the number of students who selected pizza, so we could still go with the number of students that selected pizza.
Yeah.
Because I know that for chronological, I mean the square test, I think it's to do with saying if there's like I don't know if it's saying there's a difference in the like in the percentage between both of them. I think it's trying to. And I was looking online. I have to
Mm-hmm.
go back to what I was researching. Like it was saying that the test for different purposes. A square test for testing the goodness of fit is used to decide whether there is a difference between the observed experiment value or the experimental theoretical value. For example, giving a sample we may like to test if it has been drawn from a normal population. And that doesn't really tell you specifically what it's used for. Well, for us, it's kind of confusing because we're still kind of learning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you're confident that a squared test will work, I mean, we
I'm
definitely.
I'm confident. I'm pretty confident that this is what it should be. But to give you like what we should write for like question one, like what is our study for? Not
Mhm.
100%. I'm looking at
Yeah.
I'm looking at chapter 19 in our textbook, and like they have a big research thing about a chiropractor.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
um so their research question is whether a person is motivated to seek chiropractic care um with independent for their location.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, so we should put something along those lines. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah, there's.
I'm pretty sure it's a chi test. A chi square test is what we want. Um,
Yeah. Hmm. I mean, if I can try to meet up with the professor, maybe I could ask him a question regarding it.
yeah. Or I wonder if one of his TAs could help too.
Yeah, his TAs definitely could help out. Could contact them anytime, or
I think you can.
yeah? Okay, because I was just thinking either I could or you could, and then we
Yeah.
can kind of see what exactly we could do.
Either one, you tell me. If you do you want me, I can.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you go for it if you feel
Okay, I will
inclined to.
contact her.
Yeah, sure. But hey, if you're too busy, just let me know, and then I'll do it for sure.
I will. I will. My other class is lining up, so I can contact her this weekend or tomorrow.
Awesome.
So it's almost like, or we are trying to determine if the same demand for school lunch is the same throughout the schools.
I guess like the one thing, because I know if we had two proportions, it would make it easier. Just because you could see how many people, if we were doing two schools, let's say that we were doing like one elementary school that was called like Herb Campbell, or another one elementary school like ODSS. And those two schools, it'd make it so simple because if we had two yes and no, like that they don't really like pizza, or no, they didn't basically have pizza, and yes, they did have pizza, and then we'd be able to see if there's a different proportion in both the schools if we used an even sampling. Like for instance, if we used a 62 sample in one of the schools, or used a 200 sample in one of the schools and used a 200 sample in the other one of the schools, you'd be able to see if there's a proportionate difference in one of the schools. Then we can kind of say there's sufficient evidence to say that this school likes pizza over the other, right? So it'd be easier to do a proportion test for something like that. But for a square test, I think it's a little bit different.
And I honestly, from listening to your description right there, I think we just have to, I guess, morph our study to get that way. So proportion test, as you were talking, we can go back to just pizza, yes or no. So I can just say, 200 people got pizza, one person got, 10 people didn't get pizza that day. And then you could do the total of each of our test schools. So it would be one proportion.
Yep, you could definitely do it. The only thing that will change probably, actually, I'm not too sure. I mean, the one thing that will be changed will be basically how we selected the people, because it would no longer be
the schools.
Yeah, the schools, because it would no longer be. I don't believe it would be, as we stated, systematic.
Yeah, I'm like, could you still do systematic? We chose these 6 schools and narrow it down, and then we added them all together.
Yeah,
it's like double, triple tiered here.
Exactly. I mean, if you really wanted to, what you could do, this would make it super complicated. You still could do systematic. What you could do is that you could select six schools. Let's see, and then you could pick 6 schools. So like every out of the 27, you remember what we said, that you could pick every 4th school. I think it was 3rd or 4th.
Fourth.
Yeah, 4th. So you could pick every 4th one, and then you could equal up to 6. And then from that, you would basically split them off into different groups. You do that's one group of a whole bunch of schools, plus the sampling for them all. And then the other one would be the sampling, the other 3 would be a sampling for the other one. And then it would still be systematic. It would just be that you're doing 2 different populations from different combinations of schools, and that's all. But that's heavy confusing. I don't know if you really want to do that. That'd be a lot of numbers.
They're geographically different, so we can do east and west, or north and south. If you would like, that works. I follow it.
Yeah, and I know. Yeah, you could definitely do that. Or what? I think the professor said that you can do a randomly selected group. It's just that if you did do a randomly selected group, you have to give them a really good description of how you basically came to that, right?
Because they're random.
So like, how you'd basically put 27 things in a hat and then you'd randomly choose, or you'd go to, for instance, if there was a website that had like a calculator, and you could calculate 20 out of numbers 1 to 27, pick out 6 random ones, or 2 random ones, right?
Right.
And then you'd be able to figure out, okay, so out of the random population of 27, I've selected 2 basically schools. I mean, you could do that. But
we can do. That's fine.
Yeah, and maybe
I'm fine with that.
So when you talk to the TA, maybe mention that, like, and then we may have to alternate our design the study, but yeah.
Okay.
But let me know, Wendy, if you want me to talk to them. That's not a problem at all. For sure.
I'm gonna let you. You got a better knowledge. You call the TA.
Yeah.
When it was the Chi test, I was totally in. But now that we're talking the other stuff, you've got it.
Okay. Well, you know what? I'll do that.
Okay.
So I'll try to talk to the TA. I think that you can talk to them anytime. Do you know how to get in contact with them, or?
She had posted on the class. I'm sure it's in one of my announcements I got up here. Stalin, how are you?
I'm great.
Awesome.
I was just hearing.
Welcome to the class, to our discussion.
Yeah, it's kind of, you're speaking so fast.
Let's see.
I almost wonder if we should start over this video because we've talked about our study the first part.
Okay.
All right, Monday.
So it means that the data that you're going to extract the information is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and we're looking at the study, and we don't think it's quantitative. We think it's categorical, whatever that word is. Categories.
Yeah. Categorical. Yeah.
Categorical. So we were just discussing which test we really are doing now, if it's a chi test or if we're doing a 1 or 2 proportion, and then how to manipulate not manipulate, but what data to collect. Mm-hmm.
So
what kind of data do you want to analyze and take action on?
So are we still analyzing just the type of food?
Yeah, we're still on that topic. Yeah. Yeah, we're still trying to figure out, because it's just that, I mean, we could do we could do basically a proportion test. The only thing is that and how can I explain this? It's just that originally what we wanted to do was going to do like an ANOVA test, but an ANOVA would be a little bit, it's different for sure. So we're still trying to figure it out. That's what I'm saying. I would have to talk to a TA about it for sure.
Okay, but because if you have only 2 variables, independently that we're taking the data from different schools or districts, I don't know. I think at the end we have only 2 variables that are pizza or fish, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
so
that's exactly.
Yeah, and probably at the end we're gonna end with a percentage proportion of, for example, 40% of students eat fish and 60% of the grand total eat pizza. Just saying. So, but I understand that there are other type of food in the menu.
Well, we're still doing fish and pizza, but when we took our sample size, we randomly picked out 6 schools. And so we were wondering if it's a chi test now, because you would go by school 110, 28 pizza, 38 fish. And so if that's the way the data should be, or if we should do the total of each of the 6 schools to get the proportion.
Then, I think it would be, just as Stein was basically stating, I think it would be far easier for us to basically just do 2 proportions. I mean, I think that it would be, it definitely would be a little bit easier. Because if we do it that way, then we'd be able to see if there's actually a difference between them both. Like, we'd be able to see if there's a significant difference that people actually eat pizza, or there's not a significant difference that people eat pizza due to, or they eat pizza versus, eating basically fish fillet or fish sandwiches. Yeah. So I think that's styling for sure. I think you're definitely on the right. I think that would be a good option for us to go for sure.
Let's do it.
Yep. So I think that maybe that's what we're gonna do. It would no longer be a systematic study. I'm just trying to feel like how could we basically how could we sample these? Like, would it be a systematic cluster, or the other stratified or random sampling. So I guess, you know what? I guess what we could do, I know that like this is, I mean, we could put the 27 schools in the hat, and then you could randomly select one, and then basically go with that, and then get the information that way.
Did he say that he didn't want us to pull one out of a hat?
Dang it! I think you're right.
I think that just popped in my head, and I really think that's what he said.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said. You're right. That's exactly what he said. Dang it. So I'm trying to see. So if you choose random select, please have lots of thought. Give lots of detail how you truly randomize. I don't want to pick names out of a hat. Okay, wonderful. True randomized is difficult and it's required a lot of thought. Many students have questions about randomization. If you want to poll, so that's just the other section, seeing if you want to get it approved. But we're not doing a survey, so we don't necessarily have to worry about that.
Yeah.
So what do you think of, what would be different ways that we can actually randomize the sampling or randomize those schools? How could we basically randomize our like the way that we would choose them? Well, that's the question that we all have to think about. I mean, the one thing that I think that might be easier is that we could choose two. We would have to find like a system that would randomize numbers from 1 to 27, and then we randomly choose 2 out of those that 27. So it would just randomly give us those 2, and then from that, then we'd be like, okay, these are the numbers that we're gonna go for. Or for instance, I know that Wendy, that your schools are numbered from, I think it's from 110, and it's unnumbered all the way from that number, right? Or there's,
well, they're randomly kind of numbered from 100 to 164, but there's not one for each number. There's 27 schools between that.
Oh, so I guess so the numbers are actually specific then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that makes it a little bit harder. I mean, but I guess the one way that I'm gonna have to really think about this. Yeah.
Well, and I wonder, like, is it real what we've said, the systematic sampling of the fourth school down out of the 27, and then can't we just say, and then we will total how many students ate pizza, like, and then just total it out of there. So we have our sample from the 6 schools, but then we just total.
Yeah, you're right. You know what we could do is that out of a population, because you're saying that we could just make 2 selections rather than, you're right. But how would we systematically get those numbers though?
This is the one that's in your study right now. So we're systematically sampling. We'll systematically select 6 groups of population from different elementary schools. For instance, in a list of 27 schools, we will choose the 4th school that is listed. Then after selecting the first school, we will continue to select schools for every 4th elementary in the list until we've selected 6 schools. And then we will combine the totals of students that ate pizza or fish.
Okay, that's great. All right.
Would that work?
Yep, that works great. Do that.
Okay.
Awesome. Yep, that's fantastic. Yeah.
Sweet.
So that's, yeah, because we're working with the sampling, not necessarily, the schools don't necessarily matter.
Right.
Yeah, then you can just say, like, in general, what will be basically the title will just be basically the district that you're over.
Mm-hmm.
And then that will be the overall population of the schools. Because how many schools are there in total? There's only 27. We're choosing 6.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you wanted to choose more, you could, just to equal out the population so it's more accurate. That's
gotcha.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think we're good with the 6.
You know what? Then we'll do that then. So if you want to, and since you came up with this idea, like, and it's fantastic, I think that's terrific. Would you want to talk to the TA? Because I think that you know a little bit more about that now.
Okay. Yep. I'll contact the TA.
Awesome. Because that's fantastic. Because that works great. Like, if we design it that way, that's terrific.
Okay. I'm writing myself a note. Okay.
Awesome. Good job.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so we take this quiz.
Yep, well, we'll take the quiz now since we've been.
Do we need to restart this video or are we good? We're just gonna go with it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Say what again, Woody? Sorry.
Well, no, just because we've just been talking our study for the last half hour. I don't know if anybody in our group's gonna watch it. It's fine. Let's just keep going. We're good.
Sure.
I
you
just
know what?
don't want the.
You're right.
The
I'm
TA.
good. So I'm gonna. You know what I'll do is we'll end the video right now, and then I'll make a new one. So then we'll just start a new one, and then we'll. Because you're right. Because we've been talking about 45 minutes. That's right. Yeah. Okay. I'll end this one. And we'll create another one.
Okay.
I'll invite you guys soon.
Sounds good.
Awesome.